There have been many historical events that have impacted the relatively new organizational psychology. One of the more recent events that has impacted organizational psychology research has been of the 21st century, the 9/11 attacks and the economic recession of 2008. The 9/11 attacks had incited fear upon many people, and this led many to reevaluate their jobs and their lives. So many people chose different life paths and careers, and this could have led to a little bit more unemployment in certain industries, especially with the 2008 recession. A lot of people lost their jobs due to the lack of money within the system, and this led to research because the organizational psychologists needed to learn why this is happening and how do we fix this problem. Organizational psychologists, researchers, they wanted to investigate the high turnover rate, the employee satisfaction, and the high unemployment that was during the mid-2000s. This was largely devastating to companies because they did not understand why these things were happening and how can they prevent them. So this led to many work-family policies. This led to employers researching more about what can they do to make employees more efficient, more productive, and just overall more satisfied within their positions. So these recent turn of events may have been bad for the United States and other countries, but while they were not good events, they did lead to great research and ultimately a better life satisfaction for many employers. So this led to ultimately a good outcome, and it has led to even further research in employee efficiency, turnover rate, and how to increase job satisfaction. The socialization process for a graduate student at Liberty University is a little bit different since this program is 100% online. First, what begins the socialization process would be the anticipating part of the socialization. This would be gaining information about each program and just making your decision on Liberty University. A lot of students do a lot of research on other universities and other programs before they decide to apply. So once the application process is finished, we then move on to the encounter stage. And this is when you have been fully accepted and you're starting to learn more about what the university stands for and what their qualities are. Sometimes you can meet some professors and they introduce themselves to you, and you sort of get a feel for the program. After this step is the change and acquisition stage. This is when the professor reaches out and gives a syllabus and what is expected for the semester. So, and also, one of the first assignments is usually a get-to-know assignment via the discussion board post. So, a lot of professors require students to make a thread so that they can get to know their students and also to get to know one another. After this would be the behavioral outcomes stage, and this is where students actually get started with their work. So they read the syllabus and then they start to apply what is expected of them in this stage. So turning in assignments, reaching out, working with students on projects. And then after this stage would be the affective outcomes. So based upon the previous stages, how well they were socialized, students will become more motivated and more interested in their graduate program. And if they were embedded well in the previous stages, they will become more satisfied and more motivated to do well so that they can learn more about their program and what their degree will be in. And I think that this is a really great way for professors and students to become embedded into the program, because even though it is a little bit harder with the online programs, I think professors do a great job with reaching out with their students and getting to know one another with the discussion board posts, and the assignments are sometimes collaborative, so that is always really helpful. And this will also be super helpful with getting a future job. The social work and family conflict is something that every organization goes through, whether it's positive or negative. There are a lot of conflicts between the personal life and the professional life of employees, and organizations try to use certain strategies to prevent this from occurring. Two of these ways that organizations try to prevent work-family conflict is through organizational support and supervisor support. Organizations can support their employees by instituting policies called work-family policies. Some examples of this can be a lot of women are going back to work, so women often have children at home and husbands, so organizations try to incorporate the personal lives of women in the workplace, such as if their child has a sick day, they're more lenient towards that, or some even have a daycare center within the organization so that women can have their children at work so that they don't have to pay for a daycare center, or they are able to work so they don't have to stay home and work. And these policies are really beneficial because they really reduce the work-family conflict so that they can incorporate their personal lives with their professional lives. Another way that organizations help to reduce work-family conflict is through supervisor support. These are somewhat related to organizational support because supervisors are incorporated in the organization, but it is also a great point to emphasize. Supervisors are often one-on-one with employees, so it's very important that they understand what employees need. And employees may feel like they can't take advantage of these work-family policies, and they feel uncomfortable. They may be punished for using these policies, and this is where the supervisor should make the employee feel more comfortable by speaking with them about their personal issues and making them feel more comfortable about talking about their personal lives and how this affects their work. So this can help the employee feel more satisfied with their work and feel more understood. So these are two really big ways that organizations can support their employees, is by making them feel more comfortable with the supervisors and also instituting these work-family policies. Work and family job performance is something that needs to be assessed by every organization of its employees. This is super important to be able to assess whether employees are doing their jobs correctly and efficiently. There are many ways that you can assess an employee, and this very much depends on the occupation and what you're actually assessing. A few of the ways that businesses do this are through the simple paper test, job skills test, a hands-on in at the workplace, and then hands-on outside of the workplace. There's high fidelity simulations, symbolic simulations, task evaluations, and overall evaluations. As for the paper tests, these are super simple, and they are just an evaluation of what an employee has learned. And this would not be for every single occupation, because, for instance, a firefighter would not need to do this type of test. They would do a test more hands-on to make sure that they're physically capable of the job, and maybe knowledge is not as needed as for with the paper tests. They would just be assessing, do employees know where certain file cabinets are, or what a certain protocol is with the company. A job skills test will evaluate if the certain learned skills have been learned. As for, does the employee know how to drive a specific work vehicle that they should have learned maybe during training? Because this could be a great hazard if an employee does not know how to do this at this point. These are for more physical jobs. And simulations are often used in the healthcare industry. A lot of times with high fidelity simulations, they like to use mannequins in healthcare so that employees know how to use them. And then for symbolic, they use different objects in maybe a role-playing situation to ensure that employees are addressing protocol in the correct way. And finally, task and overall evaluations do examine how employees do perform certain tasks. Are they on time? Are they having good quality work? Are they efficient? And with the overall, this is kind of combining a whole bunch of things. Are they efficient? Are they utilizing all of the equipment? And is everything productive that they are doing? Are they wasting time? So a lot of these techniques can be applied to a bunch of different jobs, but not all, and some are better than others for different occupations. Some organizational constraints in companies are two forms: person-based and situation-based. We'll start with person-based. For person-based causes, these are could be certain personalities, and certain people's personality traits can make them be more counterproductive in the workplace. And these four traits are low conscientiousness, low self-control, high in anger, and also more narcissistic personalities. Those who lack in conscientiousness are going to be less motivated to make the company more efficient, so they may be more likely to take breaks, leave work early, things like that. This is also called absenteeism. Those who have low self-control mean that they will not be able to control their emotions very well. So if something does not go their way, they will not be able to communicate that effectively. And this also ties in with the anger trait personality. People with low self-control could also have big spurts of anger, and this could also lead to abuse of others in the workplace. This can include customers or also other coworkers, and this would lead to very counterproductive work behaviors, leading to less efficiency and communication in the company. Having a more narcissistic personality also leads to more counterproductive work behaviors, because people that are more narcissistic think very highly of themselves, so they will act more aggressively if other people do not meet their expectations. For the situation-based causes, these three aspects are going to be norms, stress, and injustice. So the norms, if there are certain employees that take breaks a lot, leave work early, then these are considered their norms in the workplace. So the new employees will be more likely to adhere to their norms. So this can lead to even more counterproductive behaviors just because this is considered normal for the others. As for stress, this is considered an uncontrollable condition. So it has been found that people that feel they cannot control their work environment are more likely to engage in more counterproductive work behavior. So those with high trait in anxiety do experience this as well as those with the four big traits. And for the final is injustice. When those that are dissatisfied in some way with their employment status, such as they are paid very little and they are overworked, let's say, they don't feel that their job is treating them very fairly, so they feel that they should be able to work, they should be able to leave work early or take breaks or come to work late because this will make their job more fair because they're not getting paid enough or they're being overworked. So in their mind, this makes it feel more fair to them. And this is a very big problem that companies may face. So these are the big major organizational constraints that companies can face and a few of the workplace behavior examples.